India versus Sri Lanka, Asia Cup Super Fours, Dubai. September 26, 2025, India, 200-245. Tied with Sri Lanka 200-245. India won via super over. Prelude, a dead rubber with a bite on paper. This was a dead rubber. India had already booked their place in the final. Sri Lanka were already eliminated. But in practice, this was anything but meaningless. For Sri Lanka, pride was on the line. For India, the aim was to maintain their unbeaten streak, even with Bumrah and Shivam Dube rested. What followed was one of the most dramatic, error-strewn, yet unforgettable games of the tournament, capped by a super over decided by Arshdeep Singh's mastery of wide Yorkers. India's innings, Abhishek's power play symphony. India's blueprint in this Asia Cup has been simple. Abhishek Sharma's power play, assault, followed by layers of middle-order pragmatism. Once again, the opener delivered. Gill departs early 9th ball. Shubman Gill nicked off, but the wicket barely slowed the tempo. Abhishek explodes. He launched Dushmantha Chamira's third delivery into the Dubai night, then threaded fours over fine leg and third man. The sixth over, Ewa 50 off, 22 his third excessive half-century of the tournament. Bailly, end of the power play India 71 want. Stoppable. Carving sixes over square and lofting through long off with disdain. Turning point. A miscued pull against Cherith as Sri Lanka's half-tracker ended Abhishek's show on 61. But by then, India's platform was built. Middle overs. Tilak and Samson Anka, after Abhishek's dismissal, Sri Lanka briefly checked the scoring. SK, Wise lean patch continued with just 12 from 13. But Tilak Varma and Sanju Samson combined to add 66 steady runs. Tilak Varma's embedden 49 off 34. Cleverly you the sweekat. Samson's spark, 30 for off 23, finding gaps and running hard. Theekshana and Hasaranga's spin contained the flow. Only 56 runs came in the final 9 overs, but India still pushed to 200 to fifths. It looked competitive, but not untouchable. Sri Lanka's master pièce. The chase began with Patham Nissanka in sublime touch. Where others struggled for rhythm, he saw a different game. Early intent. First ball faced from Hardik Pandya, slashed for 4. Then the pick of midwies hooks. Pereri Kusal Perera 58 off their tupoil theory sweeps and ramps. Together, they raised 17 off 70 bal big tournament. Nissank stormed 50 off 25, then his century off 52 with a thump into the sight screen against Arshdeep. At 170 over 1 in the 16th over, the game looked all but sealed for Sri Lanka. The collapse, from cruise to chaos, and then the choke began. Pereira falls 58 off 32. A mistimed loft ends the stand, and suddenly the momentum tilts. Pressure builds. Shanaka and Kamindu, Mendy struggled against Kuldeep and Varun, whose guile slowed the rate. Nissanka's lone fight, even as wickets tumbled. He kept clearing the infield, eventually dismissed for a career-best 107.58. Sri Lanka needed just 13 off the last over. Normally, a stroll. But not against Arshdeep Singh. Arshdeep's ice-cold 20th over tasked with defending 13. The left-armer showed why he has become India's death bowling talisman. Wide Yorker, dot, slower wide Yorker, single, full straight. 2 runs. Another wide Yorker, dot, miscued boundary attempt, caught at sweeper cover. Scramble at the end, but Sri Lanka could only tie. From cruising at 170 for 1 to being held to 200-245, Sri Lanka had unraveled spectacularly. The super over, tactical madness, Arshdeep's perfection, then came the tiebreaker. Sri Lanka's baffling call, Nisanka, fresh off 107, stayed in the dugout. Instead, they sent Kusal Perera, Dasan Shanaka, and Kamindu Mendes. It was a decision that immediately backfired. Arshdeep's over. First ball, wide Yorker, Perera slices to deep point. Out. Second ball, Mendes edges, scrambles one. Tware de Balsha Shaka first connect, only for Abizar caught behind. Run out appeal to nullify it. He survives, briefly. Kata Tebal shot at third man. Result, Sri Lanka managed 2 runs. India's chase, Wainendu Hasaranga bowls. Sky creams the first ball through cover for 3, game over. India win the super over and preserve their unbeaten streak. Tactical takeaways, India's positives. Abhishek, Sharma's purple patch, continues. Tilak Varma shows finishing maturity. Arshdeep is world-class at the death. India's concerns, middle over stagnation. SK, wise form as captain, is a real worry. Sri Lanka's positives. Nisanka's innings was a modern-day T20 classic. Perera back in flow. Sri Lanka's concerns. Captaincy calls in super over baffling. Reliance on one partnership proved fatal. Final word, this was the match India could have lost, and maybe should have lost, but instead they pulled off a heist. Arshdeep Singh's composure turned a tie into a win, ensuring India march into the Asia Cup final against Pakistan undefeated. Sri Lanka will rue not sending Nisanka in for the super over instead of glory. They walk away with another case study in how not to finish games.